ESPN welcomes you to the following presentation of the XFL.
Does not get better than downtown San Antonio. The fine people of this city love winners, and the San Antonio Brahmas trying to deliver one in the final two home games to the fine folks showing up at the Alamo Dome. Their opponent, Quentin Dormady, local guy, played his high school football just north of San Antonio and Bernie, looking for a bounce-back performance for the Guardians, who were eliminated from the playoff race last week. Then you got Delonte Scott, the picture of focus. He's been the focus of every offense that he's gone up against. They can't find a way to slow down Delonte Scott. Here's what's on the line in the north. The DC Defenders can wrap up home field with a win tomorrow against Arlington. That would help the cause for the San Antonio Brahmas. St. Louis, Seattle fighting for the second spot in the north. In the south, the Houston Roughnecks took down Vegas earlier today, so they have home field advantage, and it's going to be wild in the final 2 weeks to see who goes opposite of them, Arlington or San Antonio. Brahmas let a huge one slip through their fingers last week inside the dome. Jaquez Patrick in the final few minutes got a touchdown. They got a PI on the 4th and 15. John Parker Romo rushes out, nails the field goal. We go to overtime, but in OT it was only Houston scoring. The Brahmas went 0 for 3 in their OT attempts, and the Roughnecks went 17-15. With that, hello and welcome to San Antonio. We're inside the Alamo Dome, a place that will host the XFL Championship in a few weeks. Loa Galindo here with Sam Acho. And surprisingly, even though the Brahmas got only 2 wins, they're alive in this race. If they win the next 2 and Arlington loses the next 2, the Brahmas are going to the playoffs.
Well, the playoffs have officially begun for the San Antonio Brahmas, and the reason that they're still in it is because of their defense. This is the #1 ranked defense in the XFL. They talk about pursuing excellence, chasing perfection. We'll see if they can do it tonight.
Ian Fitzsimmons standing by down on the field with Hines Ward.
Thanks, Lo. Coach, you are alive for the playoffs right now. Message to the team this week coming into this one.
Well, talk is cheap, man. It's time for these guys to show up and play some football for 60 minutes. You know, just stressing that they got to finish, man. We got to finish ball games. We've been close in a lot of games. We came up short, but today we got to get our first win here in San Antonio, so we got to finish tonight.
A couple of guys you're looking to step up.
Jack Cohn, he got his first victory against Orlando early in the season. He's had a phenomenal week. Guys around him, we just got to take care of the football and let them go to work and execute.
Thanks, Coach.
No problem.
Lo.
Well, Cohn's counterpart is Quentin Dormady. He starred just north of here, Bernie High School. A lot of friends and family coming into this game. Sam, the big question, though, is it going to be the guy that had an XFL best 6 touchdowns in the upset against DC, or the XFL worst 5 turnovers and a loss last week?
I'm leaning towards the 6 touchdowns, Quentin Dormady. Over the last 4 weeks, this offense has averaged 26 points per game. That's second in the XFL. That's since he's taken the helm. Last week, they struggled. 5 turnovers by the quarterback alone. Hopefully, you can reduce those tonight.
You need a go-to receiver, and all season long, Dormady and the rest of the Guardians quarterbacks have had one in Cody Lattimore. However, the knee's been bothering him a little bit, and he's done his work. He gets the week off, so you're talking about a no-go for the leading receiver in the league. Here's Chris Budden standing by with Terrell Buckley.
Coach, as you guys move past the focus of postseason, what has been the message and the response from your guys at practice this week?
Compete. We're professionals. We got a job to do. And this energy that's in this building is awesome. They already booing us when we're coming out. So this is exciting.
I appreciate it. Good luck.
Thank you.
Chris, thank you so much. In the XFL, the home team always gets the choice. Do they want the ball or they want to kick? Hines Ward wants to see his defense, so the Brahmas will take the football to start the second half. Parker Romo to get the festivities started inside the Alamo Dome. Dedrick Thomas is back deep to return for the Orlando Guardians. How will they respond after being eliminated from the playoff race a week ago? Teams cannot leave the 30 and 35 before the ball is caught. Thomas trying to reverse fields and will be brought down at the 26-yard line. Let's get into the betting line. San Antonio, the favorite by 2 points. The total is at 38.5. Keep this in mind. 7 of 8 times in the Brahmas game, the under has hit the most in the XFL. Quentin Dormady, homecoming for him. a star at Bernie High School, trying for a bounce-back performance. And in 5 games played, he has been arguably, the second half of the season, the best quarterback in the league.
The offense has changed since he's taken the helm, and he's a new offensive coordinator as well. Let's see how they respond to last week's struggles.
Guardians going on the ground. Drew Beasley making the stop on Devin Darrington.
Tank left.
And there is Shane Matthews.
Tank right.
Tank right
Former
motion,
Florida gunslinger.
Cadillac. Tank right motion, Cadillac.
Cadillac on one. Cadillac.
Matthews did not start the season as the play caller. That was Robert Ford. He's taken over. And over the past 4 games, Orlando scoring 26 points per game. Number 2 in the league. Back-to-back carries. Jordan Williams making the stop on Darrington. Sam, we're going to say Jordan Williams' name a lot. He leads the league in tackles.
Well, he shores up the middle of that San Antonio Brahmas defense, and his mindset is different than most. We're talking about these players making $5,000 a week, and his coach said, you're trying to get $50,000 for the year or $750,000? He has NFL aspirations.
Scallop, angle wide, shallow.
The Dome making some noise. 3rd and 1 for the best 3rd down offense in the league.
180!
Dormady coming back to his right, and that is a 1st down catch. Big boy bringing him with him. Ryan Becker moved the chains.
So great play design. It's 3rd and short. You actually available to do the run, but you have Ryan Becker stepping up.
Soft Tampa again.
Tank left.
Jim Herman, defensive coordinator for the Brahmas.
Corvette.
Okay, we're going to have to
Former
put a black
Broyles
check
Award
on
winner.
this.
As the DC with the Michigan Wolverines, the year Charles Woodson won the Heisman. Another carry for Darrington. His 3rd on the drive has the same. Cutting it back. Some wiggle to the 30-yard line. Devin Darrington, a former Harvard man, finished his college career at Virginia. 17 yards for him.
And he had other Power 5 offers. He chose Harvard because he wanted to get that great education. He was injured to start the season. Now that he's healthy, this offense has changed dramatically.
Jermaine Martin is a no-go in this game. So here is Dedrick Thomas, who's at the bottom of your screen. He will play some running back as well. Dormady looking that way to Thomas, and he's hit immediately. Popped on the play by Jamison Houston. Houston just signed this week.
Good job.
Played with Jordan Williams at Baylor. Crisp opening drive for Orlando, but we've seen this throughout the course of the season. The first drives have not been the problem.
Rip stay.
Orlando has consistently done well to start the games, but it's not about starting for them, it's about finishing. Get the good start, finish well.
Eli Rogers in motion. Dormady, pump fake, went back to it. There's contact, and that is easily going to bring out a PI as Charleston Rambo was the intended target.
I had that ball catchable because it landed in the field of play back here. So I think we're good on DPI. I got catchable.
So what's the spot, in the end zone or in the 4-yard line, and then number? Just pass interference defense. You have a number? 26. Pass interference defense, number 26. Ball be placed in the spot of the foul and includes an automatic 1st down.
That's going to go against Jamison Houston.
And one thing to note, so Jack Kerner, starting safety, he's out this week. He got injured last week, so there's a little bit of lack of communication on the back end. That's something to watch as this game progresses.
Ryan Lewis, another standout DB, also out. Little fade, up and into the midst of Jordan Thomas. The Mississippi State Bulldog. Big hands, big catch, put it on the board.
Big hands, big catch, big body. Jordan Thomas is 6'7". He's a tight end, but he's really a receiver. He did this in college as well, and so throw it up to him. He consistently makes plays.
In the XFL, opportunity to go for a 1-point conversion from the 2-yard line. 2-pointer from the 5 or a 3 from the 10. Now, this could be a challenge situation.
But you think you're going to want a challenge? You want a challenge for an offensive pass interference or a push-off 81? All right, Dean, did you hear that?
Yeah, I've got it. He's challenging that it was offensive pass interference for potential push-off.
That is correct.
Yep, I'm on my far hand.
San Antonio's called timeout to challenge
There's
offensive
definitely
pass
contact.
interference
The defender's
on the
got
previous play.
contact as well. I'm looking at this shot here. There is some extension. I don't see a ton of separation. That's my far handheld. I'm going to go to Skycam, see what that shows me.
Dean, hear me.
Yep, I'm still looking.
No, you're good. You're good, Dean.
Near handheld. Yeah, I just see a lot of contact both ways. Yep, I'm going to take one more look at the cart. Again, hand fighting.
And it will be second.
Some extension, don't see enough separation. After review, Jason, not enough to make it a foul. There's some contact on both sides, just don't see a separation. So call will stand.
So we're going to say the call will stand. The touchdown is good, and that is the challenge for San Antonio.
Correct, and a timeout.
And a timeout.
Correct.
After review, the ruling on the field stands. There is no foul. The result of the play is a touchdown. San Antonio is charged a timeout and loses their challenge for the game.
So each team with one challenge. That's the red chiclet below the timeouts. You need a timeout available to challenge a play, and you can challenge anything.
Let's get set, okay? Here we go. Here we go. Jack right, act 2 hot, China, X fade. On one, ready?
This will be a two-pointer for Orlando. They are 0 for 9 in conversions that are not one-pointers. Dormady going back that way. If it worked once, do it again. Jordan Thomas.
Sean, you got a false start over there?
On Kama Zimmerman.
I forgot his only play was touchdown.
Okay. No, try is good.
Try is good.
That's 6'5", 277 on 5'10", 163. I'm going to go with the former every time, Sam.
Well, it's too easy right here for Jordan Thomas. And we saw this 2 weeks ago in Orlando's win versus D.C. Who made the outstanding catch?
Defense.
Jordan Thomas.
The penalty decline. The try is good. Free kick.
So disbelief on the face of Hines Ward. His defense, the #1 scoring defense in the XFL. But Jordan Thomas just said, hey, fella, I'm bigger than you. Deal with it. The XFL is brought to you by Progressive, the right call to protect your home and car. Now, the river barges don't go that fast on the Riverwalk, but if they did, maybe even better experience on what is already an amazing time down on San Antonio's famous Riverwalk. Logan Galindo here with Sam Acho, Ian Fitzsimmons, Chris Budden hanging out. And the Orlando Guardians playbook is out. We'll get into the story of that, because that relates to that man that just lit them up on the opening drive. So you may be careful how you talk trash against Quentin Dormady in this game. Kick is away. Here's Fred Brown, who has the lone touchdown return in the XFL this season. Still up. And this will take him to the 28-yard line. Jack Cohn back at quarterback for the second straight game.
Factor bash left. Good 8 bib gum.
Factor bash left. Going good 8 bib gum on Vegas. Ready. Good 8 bib.
That's Jimmy Johnson calling the plays through the headset to Jack Cohn. His first game against Orlando, the best of his career. 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. Brahmas destroyed the Guardians. Jaquez Patrick coming off his best game. Let's check in with Chris.
Yeah, with Jordan Thomas, who had the touchdown, 2-point conversion, back-to-back play calls right to you, even after they challenged whether or not there was the push-off. Walk me through that play.
Yes, ma'am. They just stood up and gave me an opportunity. That's all you can ask for. I've just been blessed, so I can't complain.
A little bit of chatter there with the DB. What were you saying?
I wasn't saying anything. You know, he was just mad. It's okay. So I thank you.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Sam, that is classic. He was just mad and that's okay. Here's second down. Cohen on the throw. He's got his man wide open. And that is Nick Hawley, who started the season with the Houston Roughnecks out of Kent State.
Yeah, and you look at it, not only with Jack Cohn finding Nick Hawley, but Jack Cohn finding short, easy completions in this offense helps him build rhythm for the downfield passing game.
Cohn coming off a 2-interception performance in the Dome last week in the loss against Houston. Patrick had his best game. Did Patrick seem so much more fresh and explosive to you last week?
He did, and it's not only that, but remember, Kalen Ballage got injured a few weeks ago, and now the whole load is on Jacquez Patrick, and so he's understanding his ability, and the offense is rolling around it.
96 yards last week. He's the number 3 rusher in the XFL on the season.
Watch cat. Vegas. We're going. Watch it.
Hawley in motion. Cohn, the screen to Patrick. Flag down. Patrick ain't gonna tackle him that way. Still going inside the 20. Let's see what the flag is all about.
16. Wolfling, offense, number 62. 10-yard penalty from the previous spot. Repeat second down.
And that will wipe out a 38-yard run.
And if you're an offensive coordinator, you're frustrated because this is a screen. So it's a screen. You don't want to let him go by you. Let them run by you. That's Balaam Buchanan. Let him go so that he can get to the quarterback and you have the screen right behind it. And so those are the penalties that have been hurting this San Antonio Brahmas offense.
Especially on the offensive line. Week number 1, they lose 4 of their 5 starters, and it's been upheaval on the line since then, Fitz.
Right in front of me, Lowell, and I'll tell you it happened right in front of me, Lowell, and if you still had a challenge, that might be one you would challenge and win.
You think that could be one?
Vegas.
It happened right in front of me. I didn't see a hold. I saw a clean block. Sam?
Well, it's that arm around that you might look at. It looks like a holding. He throws him down, so that's where I would see that holding call be called.
Now, Fitz, what's your take on using a challenge this early in a game?
Well, you had players behind Hines Ward telling him don't challenge, because there was a lot of hand fighting. Offensive and defensive guys, but you know Hines Ward, he's an old receiver, and that wasn't a chicken wing from Jordan Thomas, tight end for Orlando. That was an extension, but as Dean said, that was hand fighting from both guys. So I get it, but Hines he was pretty adamant he was going to challenge it no matter what. I had a problem with that one, but normally I don't have one this early, but that was a 50-50, and I wouldn't have challenged that one.
Cohen on a 3rd and 12. He's a good enough runner, but this is too much distance. Throws across to Hilliman. Sam, what do you do now here in this situation?
Well, at this point, you want wins, so you might have to punt it just to keep that field position. If you don't get that off, if you don't get the first down, now all of a sudden you give the offense another chance. Now you're down by 2 scores. So I understand the decision to punt the ball, rely on your defense, and then try and get this game back into a position where you can score.
You like it, you understand it, 2 different things.
Yeah, no, I don't necessarily love it, but I understand it.
Now, this is delicate because if the punt goes into the end zone, it's coming out on the 35, and Brad Wing has a huge leg. But that is some good touch. Fair catch called for by Justin Rogers, and that will back up Orlando. Week 9 continues tomorrow afternoon at noon Eastern with an ESPN doubleheader. It starts with the Defenders hosting the Renegades, followed by a huge one between the Sea Dragons and Battlehawks. Every game is also available on ESPN+. If DC wins, they clinch home field in the North, and it keeps San Antonio alive if they win this game. The huge one, Seattle-St. Louis, if the Battlehawks win, they get that 2nd spot in the North.
180! What's that?
Dormady has snap. He's going to keep it heads-up play, but he is dropped. Ben Davis, the former Alabama Crimson Tide and Texas Longhorn, sending him back.
And Ben Davis is one of the best. He was one of the best highly touted recruits in high school. When the ball's up in the air, you just go. It doesn't matter what your assignment is. If you see that might be a fumble, go make a play, and it gets the offense in an unfavorable position.
Chicago.
57th tackle for loss.
Left, scout left Chicago. David Davis.
For the Brahmas defense, they entered the week with 8 more than Houston for the top spot in the league.
180!
Quick pass, swinging it out to Darrington, and Darrington fights to get to the 10. Sean Williams, the former Navy captain, with the tackle.
And one of the things about not just Sean Williams, but everyone on this
right,
defense,
you
turn on the tape.
Give me rush Miami. Rush Miami.
They run to the ball. That's what this defense does. You hear that rush call. That means get your 4 best pass rushers in there, have them get up after the quarterback. But no matter if they're down, they're up,
rush Miami.
They get to the football.
The numbers through the roof for the San Antonio defense. The problem has been the offense, as we're now watching as Javier Edwards out of Colorado limps off the field. Sam, at 365 pounds, you do not see a lot of dudes play with the motor that Javier Edwards plays with.
But see, that's what makes this defense so special. They have a couple guys in there. Javier Edwards being one of them, 365. Other guys, guys like Matthew Gotel, guys are 330.
On turkey.
It's hard to run. Camilo Tongamoa. It's hard to run against big guys. But when it comes to that rush, you see the guys like Drew Beasley on the inside.
Play clock, get late. Dormady gets it off. Edge rush. He eludes it, but not long enough. Drew Beasley, the box of knives out of Michigan State, with the sack.
And that's an inside move. He's a defensive end. He's 6'3", he's 255. He's rushing from a 3 technique. People don't understand how difficult this is. You're going against offensive guards who are 330 pounds. Don't use your strength. Use your quickness, and that's what you see Drew Beasley do here. Starts on the outside, he goes inside, gets on the inside shoulder of Abdul Beacham, the offensive guard, and he presses to the quarterback. That was a great move, but he did the same thing last week on the left side of the ball.
Matt Brown gets it off. Landon Akers from the 50. No, did he touch it? Is it live or not? It is not. Orlando, though, will spot this at the 35. And that erases what could have been game-changing field position after San Antonio thought they had just flipped the field. 8-0. It's week number 9 in the XFL schedule. One more week to go, and then it is time for the playoffs. South Division Championship, April 29th on ESPN2. The North, April 30th on ESPN. And then we're back here in San Antonio for the XFL Championship, May 13th on ABC. San Antonio, such a great city for huge games, and we're leading up to one. Here are the playoff clinching scenarios. Houston has clinched the South. Arlington is in if they beat DC. Now, if DC wins tomorrow, they've got the North Division. St. Louis is in if they beat Seattle. I cannot wait for that game tomorrow.
And so much happens with all these games. If Arlington loses tomorrow and San Antonio wins, now week 10 means everything where Arlington plays Houston. And so all these games mean so much right now.
For the Brahmas, they have to win their next 2. Arlington has to lose the next 2. Back to Jaquez Patrick out of Florida State. Still up. Refuses to go down. He had the 38-yarder erased by a hold, but he's getting some of them back here. 17 for Patrick.
Feed the beast, whether it's through the passing game in a screen or the running game. Jaquez Patrick is your main, not even target, but the main person you should be feeding, because the offensive line has struggled, so give it to your running back on runs or on screens.
Norman Price is down with an injury. Now, Sam, with Hines Ward, he's got that Steelers DNA. They wanted this to be a ground and pound type offense. Got the big running backs, Patrick and Kalen Balazs, to start the year. They simply have not had the offensive line play to play that style.
And we see another injury right here. We're hoping that Norman Price is okay. But the tough part about this offense is, even last week, you look at the quick game and empty. there were sacks in quick game. They had 6 sacks overall, and that's time where the ball has to be out quick. And so whether it's on the quarterback or the offensive line, if you don't have protection, it's hard to get anything started.
They've shuffled on the O-line all season long. They've started 4 different quarterbacks. They've also had the injuries to Balaj with the ruptured Achilles. He's out for the season. And then the offense, the change at offensive coordinator as well. But right now the focus is on the health of San Antonio offensive linemen. We'll have an update when we return from the Alamo Dome on Norman Price. Just saw Norman Price being carted off the field. Has a towel covering the tears. Obviously an emotional scene here. The 28-year-old out of Southern Miss, an injury this late in the season. At that age, we just don't know, but they're playing for so much.
You never know when it's going to be your last snap, but what stood out to me was seeing every
369,
player
367
on that
Lightning
team
on Vegas, ready.
not only take a knee, but they ran out to greet Norman Price as he was on his way out. It shows you that they care about one another and that he's one of the leaders on this team.
Vegas. We go.
It's a 1st and 10 for the Brahmas. Landon Akers in motion. Cohen, ball is getting out quick, but the Orlando defense even quicker getting to the football. Terrence Plummer, Balin Buchanan on the stop.
3 wides, 3 wides, 3 wides.
And Terrence Plummer, that is the vocal leader of this defense. In his booming voice, he told us
we going
before
stack
the
cover
start of the
6,
season,
stack cover 6, stack cover 6.
On me.
He's the leader of the defense. He's one of their middle linebacker. He's one of the guys who helps that defense go. When they got their first win, he was one of the locker room saying, I don't care what anyone says, we win.
Patrick with the carry. Left side, why not carry the rest of the Guardians defense? Losing helmets, toting the rock. Physical football here late in the season.
Sometimes, you talk about struggle, it creates a new identity. We are going to be a team that runs the ball because of our offensive line struggles. And now we're seeing new stars develop in Jaquez Patrick.
This is what they wanted to be at the beginning of the season. They made the switch from Jaime Elizondo at OC to Jimmy Johnson. Under Elizondo, they had 7 offensive touchdowns in the first 4 games, just 3 in the last 4 with Johnson. Can't have it. Deion Yelder on 3rd down. We saw that twice from Fred Brown a week ago. Game changers.
Hines Ward talked about sharing the blame. Not just the offensive line. We have receivers dropping passes, quarterbacks missing reads. It's not just one position group. If you want to be a winning team, everyone has to take the onus upon themselves to make the plays they're supposed to make.
Love this move on 4th and 2. Offense is staying out. Brahmas have to get some juice going. This is a must-win.
Omaha, we go.
Ride the bell cow. Oh, yeah. Big contact. First down for Jaquez Patrick.
And it's not just his size, it's his experience. Remember, at Florida State, he was backing up Dalvin Cook. He learned from one of the best. Then he got his time in the NFL and at Florida State. He's a big, physical running back that knows how to put his shoulder down, and they've learned from a few weeks back early in the season, 3rd and short, 4th and short, they tried to pass, it didn't work. Now you give it to your bell cow.
And he was supposed to be the star at Florida State, not Dalvin Cook. He was the number 3 ranked running back prospect out of high school. Here's Jonathan Hilliman, good in his own right, upended by Buchanan. Balin Buchanan, the son of Ray, who was an NFL standout, 47 interceptions in his NFL career. Bloodlines
Tampa
strong.
Carry, stack Tampa carry, stack Tampa carry.
Tony Carter, defensive coordinator for the Guardians, 4-time All-ACC pick at Florida State, and a solid career in the NFL.
Last time that Twix call was a screen.
Cohen dumped it down to Hilliman. And Hilliman is dumped by Gerald Willis. Willis out of Miami. One of the standouts of this Guardians deep. Is the ball getting out quicker for Cohen?
It is. It's getting out quicker, but a lot of it's because of the screen game, and then a lot of we've seen is run game. So short pass, screen game, run game. You know who you are. No downfield passing yet.
74 on Vegas, ready. We go. Vegas, Vegas. We go.
8th play of the drive.
Watch it.
Cone, pressure off the edge, throwing on the run to Akers. And Akers makes the catch. The spot is very short, however.
And it's relatively questionable. I'm looking at some of the replays. It looks like he actually got the line to gain.
Let's go, let's go.
Now, Brahmas do not have that challenge available.
Hey, we're going Falcon, 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 Falcon.
Good A.
Are you getting measured? First down, first down. It's a first.
Now it is a first down.
And this is one of the great things about the XFL. So Dean Blandino, one of the things he can change by himself is line to gain. So he wants it to be right.
Let's go. Double left fade.
Stack
Double right fade. Let's
We're
go. Same good Oscar go.
Hey, bad Oscar. No. Good Oscar on Vegas. Ready. Yeah. We're good. We out.
An absolute chaos
Vegas.
when you hear the multiple communication devices, but that's what it's like in real time. Trying to come up with the right call. Patrick, right side. Patrick, the ankle tackles ain't working on Jaquez Patrick.
And here's the issue. Jaquez Patrick is a big running back. So if you're a cornerback, if you're a DB, you may not want to hit somebody who's 6'3", 242. That's the danger that comes when you play defense and you're going against a running back that's built like a linebacker.
Now, you're a big guy, so on defense, how would you tackle him?
Well, as an outside linebacker, I'm saying we're about the same size, so you're not looking at me and sizing me up. You're looking at the little guys doing that.
So 23 seconds until the end of the first quarter. Brahmas will have to get a play off.
Mayday.
3 seconds for Cone to do it. Quick pass. Patrick in the pass game into the 20-yard line. And that will bring us to the end of the first quarter. The Orlando Guardians playing without the leading receiver in the XFL, Cody Latimer. But Jordan Thomas making sure ain't missing him that much. He's got the lone score and the 2-point conversion that followed. Guardians up 8-0 in a must-win for the Brahmas. Fighting until the end. It's in San Antonio's DNA. And inside the Alamodome, the Brahmas have pledged keep fighting on the field until they are eliminated. A loss sends them packing, but they will get in to the XFL playoffs if they win their final two and Arlington loses their final two. That would give them identical records, but with a third playoff tiebreaker being the combined record of the teams you've defeated. San Antonio would have that edge. Logan Lindo here with Sam Acho. First things first, you got to score some points. Patrick has been the leader for the San Antonio offense. Cone going to TJ Vasher. Was he in? No. Sam, there's been so many close calls with Vasher. They cannot connect lately.
Well, that was better than what we've seen all season. Most times we're seeing the quarterbacks overthrow TJ Vasher. This time they gave him an opportunity. In high school, his coach said, man, all we would do in the red zone, we would just hurry up and throw it up to TJ. Obviously, you see a little bit of a bobble here. It's out of bounds, but he's the guy you want to give an opportunity to. I got a chance to talk to him before the game. He's every bit of 6'6". He's got all the talent in the world. It's about the belief and getting him the ball.
Here is John Parker Romo, who rushed on the field to kick a field goal to send the game to overtime last week, but we got a late timeout call here by Orlando.
Prior to the snap, timeout was called by Orlando. This is their first of the half. It's 30 seconds left.
Parker Romo is as much of a breakout star in the XFL, really, as any player.
He's been so consistent. You go back to that not even walk-off, but that walk-in field goal, walk-on field goal to take the game to overtime last week. Parker Romo is a model of consistency. You talk about it. 11 straight made field goals. Only miss was in week 1. He's part of the reason why he's a huge part of this offense.
Catch episode 6 of the XFL docuseries Player 54, Chasing the XFL Dream, available to stream on ESPN+. Directed by Peter Berg, this 9-part docuseries chronicles the creation of the XFL, and you get an all-access look at all 8 teams. 38-yarders, let's do it again for Parker Romo. Also has an XFL record 57-yarder against Seattle earlier this season. The kick is up. Put it on the board for John Parker Romo. This man is on fire.
You could tell the trust that they have in him. I saw him and Hines Ward before the game. He was kicking them from 60, and some of them are a little bit wide, but there's this confidence that you have in your kicker.
My only question would be, in this desperation situation, why not go for it on that 4th down when you need points?
It's still early. You need points. We also want to keep the game in check. Still early. Get your points. Rely on your defense, and then you can get touchdowns. You don't need to force it right now.
Fitz, what do you got?
Parker Romo told me before the game, he said, I'm good within 60. Stop asking me. I'm good within 60. And when Terrell Buckley, head coach of Orlando, took that timeout, the attitude of this dude as a kicker, he looked at him and bowed as if to say thank you.
Wow. Fitz, you know these kickers that perform at the highest level, they're a little different, and that confidence is a large part of it.
Oh, the attitude. Look at Matt Prater in Arizona. Absolutely. Man, and Romo's got that attitude to him. He's got some swagger. And the bow to Buck, I thought that was absolutely priceless.
Hey, keep banging them through, and there's going to be opportunities. Dedrick Thomas from the 5. Thomas to the 21. Here's Terrell Buckley a little while ago.
He said we had 2 men on the right side, and my linebacker thought he said 2 men on the field. So we called timeout. Can we get that back?
Hey, man, shoot your shot.
Hey, it's worth a try.
Shoot your shot.
Ask and you shall receive.
Terrell Buckley said he's really trying to make this as fun of an experience in the final 2 weeks as he possibly can. I know gassers aren't fun. He said when they ran gassers this week, he did it with the team.
Well, he said he only got through 2 of them. He said they were the full gassers, not the half gassers by any means.
Quinn Dormady back to work. Oh! Dropped with authority by Drew Beasley.
So we're going to watch Drew Beasley get this sack. So this inside move, he's worked it time and time again. I saw him do this same exact inside move a few times last week. He's at the top of your screen. You come up, you get the tackle over setting, and you club under. That's his 2nd sack on the exact same move. He's just doing it now from the outside instead of the inside.
That almost looked like the hit he put on Brandon Silvers last week.
Yes. Drew Beasley, not the biggest guy, but he's one of the guys we talked to their defensive coordinator. He knows how to get after the quarterback.
2 sacks to start the game.
Yeah, we're going on 2.
And you know that makes Jim Herman a happy man.
Dose right, Dallas on 2. Dose right, Dallas on 2. Ready? On 2.
Chris.
Well, Quinn Dormady had a long conversation with his offensive line about the communication, particularly when they're backed up this deep. So it's extremely hard to hear. They're going to keep going with what they're doing. But Keith Wagner, offensive line coach, said they may have to stick or move to a silent count if the crowd noise continues to bother them.
Also big, Delonte Scott just came off the field. And Scott is the playmaker in the middle of that San Antonio defense. It was interesting, too, in overtime last week, the San Antonio fans in the end zone started telling all their brethren to come down and pack those seats to make it even louder. On the ground, Darrington, good open field tackle here by Terrell Hanks.
You talk about that crowd noise, but it's not just the noise of the crowd, it's the newness of the offensive line. We've seen injuries for Orlando's offensive line. We've seen changes. And that's why you're saying, man, we need to get it either on a silent count, something we can all be on the same page.
Time! 180! What's that?
3rd and long. The dump down to Charleston Rambo, not going to be nearly enough. But really, in these situations for Dormady, that's a win because of ball security.
Yeah, it's a win, but the other piece of it, too, is you start feeling the pressure. Notice who was around the quarterback's legs. It was Drew Beasley once again. So if you cannot block on the offensive line, notice Dormady got sacked 4 times last week, and some of those turnovers were because of the offensive line. It's going to be a long day for Quinn Dormady.
Mac Brown, the punt. Teams cannot get 1 yard downfield. It's a fake! Mac Brown showing the missile! And it's caught! KD Cannon! The missile to the cannon! What's up with the punters in this league? They're throwing dimes, Sam!
Well, we talked about it before. before this game even started, we said, man, who's got to make a play? And we were talking offline. You said it's got to be KD Cannon, Jordan Thomas, two players who are new to this offense. KD Cannon, the receiver, doesn't do it in the receiving, does it in special teams. Look at it, this motion. People can get a little bit lazy, and all of a sudden, you're playing with nothing to lose. KD Cannon goes, and Randy Moss is on him.
You got Mossed.
Here we go.
69 yards. And now left side of the screen, the bottom side is Jordan Thomas. Dormady pressured. Complete for a short gain to Ryan Becker. Sam, my head is spinning.
Well, so in the NFL, they talk about it being a copycat league. It seems like the XFL is as well. Last week, we saw St. Louis do a fake punt. Wasn't the same, but it was similar. Same thing, it works again.
Corvette. Flank right, Z-Sword, Corvette. On one, ready?
Orlando has made such gutsy play calls, special teams, the past couple of weeks. Nothing to lose. Darrington shaking. Darrington upended, still going. We got a scrum at the 1 yard line.
You talk about nothing to lose. The way that Orlando started last week's game, Lowell, was on the kick. It was a kickoff return, and it was a reverse. They ran so many fake reverses. So this offense is going after it in offense and special teams by any means necessary to find a win.
Reload, reload. 10 seconds.
Flank right, Z-Sword, Bison right. On one, ready? Ace.
Darrington with the carry, he's in! The fake punt leads to a touchdown. Slam it with the exclamation.
Special teams have to be special. And yes, that was Devin Darrington, Harvard grad, with the touchdown. But it was that field position, the 69-yard pass on punt, that allowed the offense to have this position.
Huddle.
It's going to be a 1-point conversion for Orlando.
Twins right, scat right, X-fade, Quincy. On one, ready?
After the last touchdown, they converted their first 2-pointer all season long. They're 6 of 13 on the 1-pointers. Dormady looking middle of the field for Eli Rogers, incomplete. 14-3, Guardians leaving it all on the field. The Mac Brown fake punt sets up Devin Darrington for the score. Orlando fearless here in San Antonio. Mac Brown was a 2-time semifinalist for the Danny Warfel Trophy. I think he made that legacy proud with this absolute dime to KD Cannon, who did the rest, setting Orlando up for a touchdown. Here's Chris Button moments ago.
Mac, you told me you've run that a few times in practice. What was the reaction when you finally got the call to rip it?
Honestly, it was I was just ready to go. I was waiting on that call all season long, and I think honestly just got lucky.
You let it rip. Where's the arm come from?
Comes from tons of time throwing with my pops in the backyard or throwing with the boys up in Minnesota. Shout out the boys up in Minnesota, man. But yeah, credit to the guy. Credit to 15 for making the play.
And your parents are here to watch it. What's this like to be able to celebrate with them?
It's great. It's great. I'm very lucky to have a great family, so shout out them for coming out today.
I appreciate it. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Travis Johnson brought down by Ryan Becker. Pops loves it. This was a conversation pregame with Terrell Buckley about that play.
So we get out, we're going to call it now.
Absolutely.
If you see, when he goes in motion, if you see him running with him, then we're probably going to have what? The backside.
Yeah, backside, Jay.
If you don't see him running, then we probably have the front side.
Yep.
Just do what you do.
Absolutely.
Sam, just do what you do?
Well, I love the confidence. That's the confidence that a coach can instill in their player. I trust you to make the right decision.
Jack Cohn to throw. Cohn complete to TJ Vasher to the 30-yard line. Chris.
By the way, Matt came up and apologized to me because we were chatting earlier, and he said I knew the whole time, but I really wanted to tell you, but I couldn't. By the way, he has raised $148,000 for ALS. He had a childhood friend's dad pass away from it. Started a lemonade stand when he was a young boy back in Minnesota. It kept growing and growing. His sister now does it. They call it the Awesome Lemonade Stand. They have it every June back in Minnesota. He's going to continue it this year, but close to $150,000 raised for ALS.
Chris, that is an amazing story, as Alize Mack with the dropsies. And Sam, great things happen to great people.
And sometimes you look at it, man, you're doing all this stuff in the community for your family. Now you get this opportunity, and then all of a sudden you get this great play and even more awareness for what you're doing back home. And so kudos to Mac Brown and his foundation.
Can only imagine what Dad's phone looks like right now. Blowing
same
up.
good Oscar on Vegas, ready? Same good Oscar.
That could be the next quarterback guru right there.
You heard what he said about me. I was throwing with him in the backyard.
Yeah. Omaha, we go.
Hilleman. And the Orlando Guardians don't look like a team that have one win on the season. And that's what Buckley told us coming into this game. Practices look like it's a 7-1 team, not a 1-7 team.
They're playing free, and that's what we've seen the last few weeks. Even with that DC win, it built this confidence, and that has kept with them even though they struggled last week.
See, the next game's up, Arlington, DC. And Seattle, St. Louis. Now check this out. Bottom of the defensive line for Orlando. That's Jordan Thomas checking in to rush. Thomas has the first touchdown catch by the Guardians. Got pancaked. Hilleman checked down. It's going to be close. The spot is right at the sticks. It should be a first down.
Well, why'd you have to say it like that, though?
Well,
you got pancaked.
Because he did.
Yeah, he's a tight end. He's a receiver. Sometimes you get up in that D-line. It makes a lot of noise, but he's trying to help. Their front seven is a little bit banged up, and so that's why he's an offensive guy going to help on the defensive side.
You just want me to say he fell over? I mean, I gave the guy the props with the mitts in the end zone.
The tone and what you got pancaked.
Vegas.
I'll let you handle that one next stop. It was a great effort, Jordan. Hilleman now starting to get some momentum. Give him 4 yards.
Nickel.
Hilleman out of Rutgers, started his career at Boston College.
Hey, get in the huddle.
Where he had 13 rushing touchdowns as a freshman. Guardians defensive player is down. That is Trayvon Sanders. We'll check in on Sanders' condition when we return to the Alamo Dome. XFL is brought to you by Arby's. Arby's, we have the meats. And Volvo XC90 Recharge plug-in hybrid. I feel awful reading that billboard. We have the meats over the Brahma Bulls. We're the mascot of the San Antonio team. I was set up, Sam.
That's great marketing from a marketing team. So let's put it that way.
A great connection with the cattle industry here in Texas. It's such part of the fabric of the state. The name Brahmas, MacArthur High School in San Antonio. They're the Brahmas as well. It just felt a little awkward. Second and 6 for the Brahmas. And there is Hilleman. So Hilleman will set up a third down and short. To me, Sam, right now, this is coming down to an ultra-aggressive Orlando team with a San Antonio team that's had 3 4th and shorts, but have only gone for it once.
One team is playing looser. One team is playing
77 lamb
as
on
if
Vegas,
they can't afford to lose, and that's the hard part. You don't want to play tight.
Trip left. X spot. Hey, landed. That's it. No, flare.
Late on the play clock.
Omaha, we go.
1 second. Cone drops it. Got it back. Here comes the pressure, and he will not elude Terrence Smith. The second leading tackler for the Guardians got him for a loss.
And you heard it earlier. Terrence Smith actually had dropped into coverage, but when that ball is on the ground, see ball, get ball. He actually gets out of his coverage assignment. He understands his speed, and he goes and gets a sack. That's called being a football player. Sometimes you have to go do what's required to help your team win.
Here's Brad Wing. Have we seen Wing's arm yet? San Antonio needs something going. This is a boomer to Justin Rogers. Backpedaling now at the 10. 4 Brahmas there, and he's brought down by Ty Smith. Week 9 continues tomorrow afternoon at 9 Eastern with an ESPN doubleheader. Starts with the Defenders hosting the Renegades, followed by a big one between the Sea Dragons and Battlehawks. Every game is also available on ESPN+. So if this score holds, the Arlington game, for their standpoint, getting in, that will be irrelevant because they are in with the San Antonio loss.
If San Antonio does not find a way to win this game, then all of a sudden, you talked about it, their playoff hopes are eliminated.
Darrington fighting for yards. That's a loss of 2. Meanwhile, DeAndre Francois has checked in at quarterback. This is something that Terrell Buckley told us coming into the game he wanted to get back to. Felt like he could have mixed in Francois in the middle of the last game when Dormady was struggling with 5 turnovers.
And he added the piece about opportunity. He said, I want to give DeAndre Francois his opportunity as well to shine like he did in college.
Play action, Francois. He's got some wheels, but not enough to get away from Sean Williams. Here's Fitz with an injury update.
The Brahmas will be without their starting nose tackle, the Colorado Buffalo, Javier Edwards. He's out with a shoulder injury, done for the day, guys.
That is a big blow for a stout man in the middle of that San Antonio defense that has settled in after the opening drive in which Orlando drove the length of the field, got on the board with Jordan Thomas.
And there's only a 51-man roster in the XFL, and so when players get injured, that depth is even more thin than you would expect.
That's why we saw Jordan Thomas playing defensive end.
Orlando's second time out of the half. It's a 30-second break. Guardians
take timeout number 2. What do you think of the start so far, Sam?
I've been impressed by Orlando. We didn't know what to expect based off of their 5-turnover performance last week, but offensively they're putting up points like they did over the last half of the season. On the other side with San Antonio, I understand some of the decisions not to go for it on the 3rd and short and 4th and short, but sooner or later you have to just let yourself go, because if you don't, a loss will be imminent.
The fake punt is the difference in this game. And Chris, from what I understand, there's a special name to the play.
Yes, they call it the Blandino because Terrell Buckley had to send the play to our rules aficionado, Dean Blandino, to approve it because there's guys in motion. So it has been dubbed the Blandino.
That is amazing. Dean Blandino now immortalized in XFL history with one of the best trick plays we've seen. Francois to Eli Rogers. Rogers trying to get the corner. The stiff arm is going to be close. And it's a first down. So, Dean, what do you think? You've got your first play named after you now.
So I knew going in that they named it the Blandino, and not that I have a rooting interest, but I just wanted the play to go well. I didn't think it was going to go that well, but I wanted it to go well.
That's the biggest smile I've seen on your face, Dean, all season long. You got the play named after you, and it worked 69 yards later.
On top of the spring football world right there. Darrington somehow slips out of the tackle, and he gets 9 yards on first down. I think Dean blushed a little bit as well.
He did. And that's the thing. So if you're a coach, that's a smart play. It's saying, okay, I know I want to run this, but let's make sure we don't get called for any kind of penalty, any kind of illegal procedure or illegal formation. Let's get it all situated.
And it's also kissing up a little bit to the VP of officiating. Now, Dean calls it as he sees it. Dean has done a fabulous job all season long in the XFL Command Center in Van Nuys, California. Darrington again. Darrington picking up a lot of the slack with Jermaine Martin out. Last week, this is an Orlando team that had 16 carries for 25 yards. A lot more success on the ground. They're up to 48.
And some of that may be attributed to the loss of Javier Edwards. We talk about his size, about 350 pounds. Missing him in the middle will affect your run defense tremendously.
Orlando eliminated last week. San Antonio needs back-to-back wins, back-to-back losses by Arlington to go. They lose here, it's done. And the Renegades are in. Francois on the run. Trying to beat Williams. He's forced out of bounds. Flag on the play.
Down.
Holding. Offense, number 77. 10-yard penalty from the previous spot. Repeat first down.
It's going to go against Abdul Beecham, another local guy, Cibolo, which is also just north on I-35 here in San Antonio area.
And you want to know who caused that penalty? It was Drew Beasley, excuse me. And I think they actually called it on the wrong person. It really wasn't on Abdul Beecham, number 77. It was on number 78, the new right tackle. That's who that play was on. And so we see what the effect is. T.J. Bradley got the holding, but it's Drew Beasley affecting the quarterback.
Beecham is slid over to right guard. Francois with the draw. Francois, such a brilliant start to his career at Florida State. He was the ACC Rookie of the Year in 2016 over Daniel Jones, who just cashed in a large contract. However, next season, hurt his knee in the season opener against Alabama, was dismissed in 2019, and it's been a climb back ever since.
But he was one of the most highly touted recruits in high school. And funny enough, Jock Westpatrick, who went to Florida State as well, was actually at his recruitment announcement ceremony when he got recruited and committed to Florida State.
Coming up on the 2-minute warning. Francois to throw behind Jordan Thomas. Drew Beasley with the hit. And the clock will run up until the final 2 minutes. We'll take the 2-minute warning, and then the timing will go to the college rules. Orlando with the lead on San Antonio, 14-3, and a must-win game inside the dome for the Brahmas. It's week number 9 in the XFL season, and here we are, deep in the heart of Texas, inside the Alamo City, where Orlando leads the hometown Brahmas 14-3. Let's take a look at tonight's game flow, brought to you by Progressive.
I'd like to see a few more deep balls at 8-1. Come on, KD, get in! Oh! Yeah!
Sometimes the uncontrolled screaming, the best part of the mic'd up, because it's pure joy from Terrell Buckley. 3rd and 17, Brahmas need a stop. That's Andrew Jamil in motion. DeAndre Francois, the quarterback. They'll play it safe. And that is Dedrick Thomas, met by the Brahmas defense with Jordan Williams and Sean Williams, no relation. Just two absolute studs from the Brahma defense. Jordan Williams, standout at Baylor. Sean Williams, the former winner of the Defender of the Nation Award at Navy, given to the top player in America from a military school.
And while he was at sea, he would train. He would get up early. He would get on the treadmill. He'd find ways to get and keep his body in shape, even while he was serving the country.
He was assigned to the USS Gerald R. Ford, utilized the different spaces on deck, below deck for workouts, push-ups and sit-ups in his cabin, lifted weights in the storage room, ran sprints on the flight deck. But the big question is it Blandino Part 2? No. Matt Brown's gonna boom it. Akers at the 5. Akers slips out of one tackle. Not that one. DeAndre Francois, Quint Dormady checking out the film. Their offense has sputtered since the opening drive. Special teams picked them up with the Blandino that led to a touchdown. For San Antonio, though, how do they get it going?
Well, they've had no offense so far. You've been running the ball effectively, I understand that. But sooner or later, you have to get the ball downfield. The difficulty is your offensive line hasn't protected. Even in 7-man protection last week, you gave up sacks. And so the offensive line has to get together so Jack Cohn can get the ball down the field.
Under 2 minutes, the clock is going to work like in college football. Patrick met in a hurry by Errol Thompson. That's a guy T-Buck says is our thumper.
And you heard it and you felt it. But this Orlando offense and defense, you
57,
feel the urgency in their play.
Another cadence, 57.
Need to see some urgency from the Brahmas. They got one timeout.
We go.
Under 90 seconds. They need to score in the worst way. Cohn thought about taking the shot, held it too long, and that is complete to Nick Hawley. Contact rules like the NFL. That will momentarily stop the clock while the chains are reset.
Another cadence. We go.
It's Tom to Fred Brown. That's the one you can't have in this situation.
So, of course, you want to get the ball past the first down marker to stop the clock. You still have a little bit of time.
Hey, 66.
But at the end of the day, you have to elongate the field. You have to give the defense something to be threatened by.
And again, short of the sticks, Patrick is able to keep rumbling to the 40 he goes. We know about the leg of Parker Romo. Is Hines Ward thinking 6, though? Guardians player is down. Orlando cannot stop the clock for the rest of this first half. And that is Jaquan Blakely being checked out and jogging off.
Hey, tackle it.
Blakely out of Tennessee. Romo out of Virginia Tech. So clutch. Distance, not an issue for him. He's got an XFL record 57-yarder. He's already slammed home one earlier. The lone points for the Brahmas. But those passes short of the first down marker, those were the type of plays that absolutely killed Vegas in the early game today against Houston.
And it's not just that. It's I understand things being open, but if you want to win in a game like this, even if the space isn't as open downfield, you have to take a risk.
Cohen. Hawley! Got it! Inside the 10.
There's your risk. It's a 34-yard gain. Middle of the field was wide open. Great read by Jack Cohn. And that's what you see when the offensive line is protected.
Nick Hawley, great story out of Kent State, where he played with his brother.
San Antonio's called their third and final.
Think about everything he went through from 2015 through 2017. Tore his ACL twice, tore his MCL once, and also broke his back. Yet here he is, getting the Brahmas in great position for their first offensive touchdown.
And he was part of the XFL in the previous version. He played in the CFL with his brother. Nick Hawley has been through so much, but he's a story of redemption. Was with the Houston Roughnecks earlier this season. Now he's got his opportunity. And you see it here. The middle field's going to be open. Jack Cohn's going to read it quickly and get the ball up and down over the outstretched arms of the defender. That's what we haven't seen for a few weeks with this offense. Those long gains, big gains, it stretches the defense and it forces you to play a little bit further back, which will open up the shorter throws if you need them.
Good 8 bib gum. Got an RPO.
So 34 yards to Hawley by 2 yards. That is the longest play of the season for the Brahmas. Cannot walk away here with 3.
Omaha, we go.
Not with the season on the line. Patrick dancing, waltzing into the end zone. It's a big fella with great footwork. And here come the Brahmas.
Jacquez, sweet feet, Patrick. For as big as he is, he moves with such agility and such quickness. He knows how to find the end zone. Did it at Florida State. Did it at the NFL. And now finally, you had to get a first down or really a touchdown. No more timeouts. He avoids the defender, gets it to the end zone. Jacquez Patrick, have a day.
I'd say. Now lining up for the one-point
One double,
conversion.
good buff gum, Z-key on Vegas, ready. I'm going gun, I'm going gun. Here we go, Fred.
And this is simply what San Antonio does where they are most comfortable.
Omaha, go.
To Brown, and Cohn was able to coach the official into throwing the flag.
Right here, Andy. Just turn to the 5. Turn to the 5. Pass interference, defense, number 27. Foul occurs in the end zone. Penalty, put the ball at the 1-yard line. Repeat the try for 1.
So even though you're moving it up from the 2, anytime you declare what conversion you are going for after a penalty, even if the ball moves up, it's worth the same amount of points you originally declared. Anchors in motion. Patrick, the running back. Finish what you start.
By any means necessary. He did it with his feet. Now he's doing it in the air, jumping over bodies. He's ran over people in the screen game. Jacquez Patrick is the reason his team is in this game. Notice, when the game is on the line, give it to your best player, let him do the rest. Jump over, hurdle, 1 foot, 2 foot, doesn't matter. Just get that ball in that end zone, baby.
What did Hines Ward tell us coming into this game? We needed a desperate team to make a desperate effort. Are you seeing that, Sam?
I'm seeing that. This team is playing desperate. We're seeing the risk that we talked about earlier in the game. Getting the ball down the field. We're seeing the defense stepping up. When the game is on the line, this is playoff football. You have to be and play desperate and also find that thing within to say, you know what, I don't care what else is going on, fake punts, what have you. I'm going to be the one that helps my team win.
Hey, what this is a guy that trusts the process. I criticize him for not being aggressive enough on 4th down plays, but Hines Ward knows his approach, trusts the process, and it's working. Here's Dedrick Thomas. Thomas looking for a seam and brought down at the 25. Here's Terrell Buckley, wired. He's not happy.
Why is Balin pressing? Carry! Oh my gosh, man.
Sam, what's he talking about?
And so we said that carry piece, so the middle field runner looked like they turned the wrong way. If you're going to do a cover 2 like that, you have someone running down the middle of the field. You check one side, check the other side. They turned the wrong way, and that's why you saw the receiver wide open in the middle of the field.
Defense.
Decline. Orlando is lining up content to take this one into the half.
12 players on the field. Pillars decline. It's the end of the first half.
And they will. Orlando. They're playing for pride right now, trying to go out on a good note with 2 games left, eliminated from the playoffs. They've had all the magic, the surprises, but San Antonio has stayed the course. You cannot sum up just how big that Patrick touchdown was for them.
And how big this halftime speech, halftime conversation, halftime soul searching is going to be for this team. Everything is on the line for San Antonio. This is their playoff game. It's a must win. You win and you continue.
Everything on the line for the Brahmas faithful. They need 2 straight wins to have a chance. Jordan Thomas playing keep away. Orlando, the trickeration to set up the touchdown. But body blow after body blow, leading to a big one for Patrick. It's 14-10 Guardians. Here at San Antonio, Logan Lindo, Sam Acho. Real quick, who goes #1 overall?
I'm feeling Bryce Young, but you can't go wrong with him or C.J. Stroud.
I love it. Orlando up 14-10. San Antonio making its way to and from the locker room. Here's Terrell Buckley, the Guardians head coach, in the locker room.
Are we winning? We're up at 0-0. We got to finish, man. We have yet to finish the game the right way, right? Let's finish. not by chance and all. Let's go out and do our job. Let's dominate. We put ourselves in a great position. Let's go out and finish. Defense, if they don't score, we win. If they don't score, we win. Go out and play like it means something to you. Orlando, go out and stay hard.
Let's go, baby. Let's go. Let's go. Hey, that is a team showing so much fight. And it brings us to our first half stats brought to you by Progressive. What's standing out, Sam?
What stands out is what's not seen. It's the hidden yardage. Notice Orlando has less total yards than San Antonio, but it was that fake punt, those hidden yards, special teams, that has been all the difference in this game.
Can you finish? That's been critical for Orlando. Meanwhile, San Antonio has had problems finishing as well. You just go back to what happened in this building in week number 1 against St. Louis, where they allowed 2 scores in the final 90 seconds. Think about the impact of that play, too. If San Antonio closes that game out, their playoff picture is entirely different.
And their team is entirely different. A win like that builds confidence. All of a sudden you say, I know how to win the close games. And then not only that, you go to Hines Ward saying, we have to find a way to win in the Dome, to win at home. They're searching, seeking, finding a way to get one win. They escaped you before. Maybe this will be the day that you find it.
And oh, by the way, that was Paxton Lynch warming up with Jack Cohen. Lynch is now the backup quarterback for the San Antonio Brahmas after starting the season as the #1 guy for Terrell Buckley and the Guardians.
And Paxton Lynch, he started with Orlando, and now he's with San Antonio just a few weeks ago. You talk about this opportunity. Well, he's looking for it as well. He may get his opportunity today, and if not, could be next week.
Looking for a big return from Fred Brown. Got one a few weeks ago in Vegas. Oh, high-speed collision. Jeremiah Gimmel.
They both hold, so our spot matters. What's your number, Justin?
31. Gimmel got
Willie,
him.
you?
Same number.
Same number, 31? Okay.
27. Okay, 27.
27? Okay. During the return, holding return team number 27. 10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. First down, San Antonio.
Well, we've seen Mac Brown throw a bomb, and a guy that Mac Brown coached at North Carolina drop one, and that's Jeremiah Gimmel.
Jeremiah Gimmel, he was a captain at North Carolina for the head coach, Mac Brown, not the punter, Mac Brown. And he's a captain because of his leadership. We talk about this opportunity for the XFL. You may not be playing on defense. You're out there on special teams, run down, make a play, people will notice.
Patrick has been impressive at running back, 7 carries, 39 yards. And back to Patrick. He's trying to join Abram Smith from D.C. as the only players with multiple 90-yard rushing games this season.
Let's go one on.
There is Jimmy Johnson.
Fake good bull lock trail. One on. Fake good bull lock trail.
Hey, fake good bull on Vegas, ready. Make sure you get out, JP.
That is the offensive coordinator for the Brahmas, calling plays for the 5th straight game. Taking over for Jaime Elizondo. San Antonio really wanted to spread it out when Johnson took over. They've tightened up their formations lately. Patrick, lethal out of the backfield. Move him.
One benefit of the check down is when you get into a guy like Jaquez Patrick, because why? He's going to get yards after contact. People don't want to tackle a guy who's 240 pounds, so trust him and get the ball in his hands.
Bad A bib on Vegas, ready. Hey, should be good.
Cone 16 of 19 in the first half for 156.
Omaha, go.
Trust the big fella.
It's got to be good.
Gerald Willis, however, makes a stop.
You hear him talking about, man, it's got to be good. Well, good for this offense is to the right. Bad is to the left. And so we say, man, based on this formation, our play call is actually wrong. And that's why we didn't see that play be as effective as we would have hoped.
74 rib. On Vegas, ready.
Nick Hawley now at running back.
Who's Mike?
Motions out.
Whitey! Right side.
Cone with the wheels. He's just good enough there. And we heard him asking with the live mic, who's the mic? Who's the mic? What's the significance of that?
Well, the significance is for the offensive line. It depends on who you're going to slide to, who you're going to block. And so that helps identify, hey, who's our Mike linebacker? Because that's who our center has to block. Because our running back, quote unquote, it was a receiver, is motioning out.
Who's the mic? Vegas, Vegas. We go.
3rd and 5 for the former Wisconsin and Notre Dame quarterback, Jack Cohn. Cohn to an open man. Hit immediately, but hauled in by Travis Toivonen. The only Brahma averaging more than 10 yards per catch this season. Just doesn't have a lot of catches to his credit. Former standout at North Dakota. Not North Dakota State.
Bad Bear, Bad Bear on Vegas, ready. Bad Bear.
And he played in other spring football leagues. He was MVP caliber. He knows how to succeed at this level.
Enormous 3rd down conversion there for the Brahmas. Back to the beef. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Steady diet of Patrick. And number 3 rusher in the XFL.
And this slow, methodical drive can seem a bit boring, but this is the time. They call it the alumni zone. Middle of the field, where you can take a shot down the field.
I believe you're over here. No, you're over here.
And from the jump, this is the offense that Hines Ward wanted.
Heidi, right side.
Delay to Patrick. And brought down by Terrence Plummer. Plummer out of Central Florida. The Fiesta Bowl defensive MVP in 2013 after beating the Baylor Bears. He's got 3 games in his NFL career. Made 1 tackle in those 3 games.
76 rib on Vegas, ready.
Can only imagine what it's like to want to get that taste again. That's what he's playing for in these final 2.
Sometimes record doesn't matter, opportunity matters.
Right side.
Cohn throwing towards the pressure. Hillman slips out, cut back. Vasher gives him a block. Inside the 20. Good read by Cohn. Better downfield block by TJ Vasher.
So I talked to Jonathan Hillman before the game. This guy could have gone anywhere. Could have gone to Alabama, Ohio State, Michigan. Chose Boston College and transferred to Rutgers. Was a leading touchdown getter when it came to running backs. He's elite on his feet. He went to play for the New York Giants. Backed up Saquon Barkley. He learned from the best. That was his favorite team. Now he's doing it here in San Antonio in the XFL, hoping to get back to the NFL.
Here we go.
Hawley in the backfield stays there for the moment.
Go.
Cohen comfortable. Alize Mack, another Golden Domer like Cohn.
Alize Mack, one of the top recruits coming out of high school as well. Went to the New Orleans Saints, got coached by tight end coach at that time, Dan Campbell. They've been waiting for him to expand and explode in this offense. Maybe this is going to be the day as we see this rhythm start to come.
And this is TJ Vasher territory. He's good for a grab or a PI. Bottom of your screen. Number 18.
Omaha, we go.
And Patrick hit immediately by Gerald Willis. Kept slogging for maybe an extra yard. Big 3rd down.
You heard Hines Ward say, come on, we got to score. You're in the red zone again. 3 points will not cut it.
Let's go. Double left, fix yak. Double left, fix yak. Let's go sprint right pylons.
Hey, sprint right, sprint right, sprint right.
44 right. Jacksonville 0. 44 Jacksonville 0. 44 Jacksonville 0.
Vegas, Vegas. We go. Watch it.
Cohn moves the pocket. We'll have to throw it away. Now with the 1-point conversion after the touchdown right before the half, you bring out your field goal unit and you're still down by a score.
You're still down, and I get the frustration from the fans, and I understand getting points, but down the line you're saying, man, what is going on in the red zone for our offense? We like points, but we like touchdowns more than we like field goals.
Saw it last week against Houston. Had a 1st and goal from the 1 on the opening drive. 3 straight tackles for loss, backed up. Then could not score in the overtime period. 29-yarders. Romo up and good. That man is locked in. A couple of scores for the Brahmas. They move within 1. Hines Ward and the San Antonio Brahmas need this dub to stay in the hunt in the XFL playoff race. This has been the story with the live line, according to Caesar Sportsbook and Kick. The Brahmas favored by 2 at the end of the first quarter. After that touchdown by Jordan Thomas, Orlando favored by 2.5. Moments ago in the break, it was Orlando by 1 and a hook. And right now, San Antonio is the favorite. I don't know if I'm feeling this, Sam. I just think Orlando has a lot more potential to score than San Antonio does.
That's what it's felt like all game long. And maybe,
all season.
That's correct, all season long. And this Orlando team, though, has to respond to those points. How do you respond in the second half? They've started strong every single game. They have not finished. We heard Terrell Buckley say it at halftime. Let's see how they respond right now.
Dedrick Thomas, second tackler for the Brahmas, bringing him down. Week number 9 continues tomorrow afternoon at noon Eastern with an ESPN doubleheader. Starts with the Defenders hosting the Renegades, followed by a big one between the Sea Dragons and Battlehawks. Every game is also available on ESPN+. The Dome at America Center is going to be off the chain. That place is going to be packed. They're shooting for 40,000 plus. I think they get it for that matchup against Seattle. With all roads leading back here, the downtown San Antonio, the Alamo Dome, site to the XFL championship. Quentin Dormady back at quarterback, tucked it in, and Dormady will have the first down yardage. Check in with Chris Button.
Lowell, I talked with Terrell Buckley coming out of halftime about going deep in the playbook with that Blandino play call. He said that's always been the fabric of who we are. The difference now, it's my decision. I'm the one telling him we're going to run these plays. He's had a very big evolution in terms of being a head coach from week 1 until now. He's written a journal that he says is about 75 pages full. The biggest thing he says he's learned is that trust yourself. You know more than you know. He's relied so much on other coaches and the advice from them. He said, deep down inside, I think I knew all these things from the very beginning. I just needed to trust myself.
Front right, ace right, 548.
Great story, Chris.
Ace right, ace right, ace right.
So Dormady was a yard shy of the first down on the scramble, but picked it up with Eli Rogers. Okay. Learning process not just for the players, but for the coaches as well.
180. What's that?
As Dormady looks to throw. And throws that away. That is very similar to the conversation that we had with Hines Ward before the game up in Seattle, where he's had to learn to trust himself. He hired his OC, DC, and then let them draft all the players. The guy he hired as the offensive coordinator isn't even calling plays anymore.
He talked about not knowing some of the coaches. He said, I wish I would have known them beforehand, because that trust is a big piece. But also he said, I'm learning as a coach as well. We're getting to know one another. We're getting to know our team. And now we're trying to find ways to win.
Dormady shot over the middle, too high, too hot, looking for Jalen Smith.
And the reason that matters, Lowell, is some coaches have different coaching styles, different methodologies. And so if you know that going into it, then you have a better idea of how to work with someone. But now you're trying to learn all the players, how to work with them. Now you learn how to work with and manage the coaches. It makes it a lot much tougher of a task.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but as a player, you're focused on how can you be the best as an individual. As a head coach, you got to worry about everybody and everything. Here's a 3rd and 10.
Hey, easy. Hey, roll,
San Antonio getting around it.
Hey, ace right, ace right. Sarah, side.
Dormady, the pride of Bernie, floats it. Rogers had it, dropped it. Forced out by Anthony Tejada.
So he didn't drop it, Lowell. You said it right the second time. It was forced out by Anthony Tejada. Anthony Tejada played in the NFL as well. He played for the Washington football team. This dude wants to get back to the NFL. He actually was playing in the CFL. He terminated his contract to say, I want to either get in the XFL or the NFL. Anthony Tejada, his brother Raleigh, plays for the Houston Roughnecks, taking advantage of every opportunity.
Landon Akers back. Here's Mac Brown. Mac Brown. This is going to be a short punt, and it's going to be down around the 30-yard line. So the Orlando offense stalling after their opening drive that led to a touchdown by Jordan Thomas. They got another one, but that was a result of a 69-yard fake punt pass to KD Cannon.
One of the benefits of the XFL is they have these tablets on the sideline. In the NFL and in college, you can see pictures. Now, you actually have the entire video. So you see Sean Williams, he was a linebacker. Now he's playing safety. Talking to Jordan Williams and Rico Jeffers, who finally came back. Communicating ways they can get better from a play that just happened previously. This type of communication is what great defenses do. This is why they're the #1 ranked defense in the XFL. It's not just coaches coaching players, it's players coaching players. That's called ownership. That's what the XFL is all about.
Setting up real-time adjustments. San Antonio back in the picture.
Vegas, Vegas.
After a late touchdown drive in the first half. Capped by Jaquez Patrick. Hilliman's the running back. Jack Cohn. Now as a Mack will try to get up and drag a defender with him. See, NFL rules in terms of got to be down by contact, not like college, where if you fall over, you're done. So Mack fighting for those extra yards.
369 on Vegas, ready.
This is not a prolific San Antonio offense.
Stay alert, Jay Hill.
Patrick's touchdown was just the 4th offensive touchdown in the last 6 games for the Brahmas. Check down to Hilliman. We've got a flag.
Flag down.
The last win by San Antonio, they did not have an offensive touchdown.
They scored on defense. They might need another one of those here
to
win this game.
What was the results of the play?
First down.
First down, okay. Holding, offense, number 62. 10-yard penalty, repeat second down.
Dwayne Wallace out of Kansas, the guilty party. Moving the offense back. Jack Cohn, by the way, season high 208 passing yards. We've seen throughout the course of the season, his completion percentage will look pretty good.
75 Thunder on Vegas, ready.
But the ball just doesn't move anywhere.
We're not seeing the ball historically get down the field. Now, we saw a little bit of that today. I expect more of that because the season is on the line.
Omaha, go!
Cohn going through his progressions is going to be brought down by Jaquan Blakely.
So one frustrating part about a sack like this, yes, it's a coverage sack. It was a 3-man rush, but it's a 3-man rush.
Oh.
Go in.
So spread right, 66, auto stop, wide bend.
66 on Vegas, ready.
Okay, double buzz. Double buzz. Tight. Tell him tight.
Vegas. We go. Get out.
That's a 3-man rush, tight, double buzz, get out underneath the out routes.
Cole wants it all. Holly's open. Has it into Orlando territory.
One thing about the buzz, if you're buzzing underneath the out route, someone has to stay over the deep routes. That's why you see the anger and the frustration. You hear that double buzz. Eyes on the quarterback, but you have to run with that. So Nick Holly gets behind the defender. They weren't expecting a deeper route, and that's where the problem in that play.
44 yards, the longest play all season for San Antonio. Cohn flushed and will float this one out of bounds. How about the spark from Nick Hawley? Had that 44-yarder to follow a 34-yarder for an offense. It was like running on a treadmill all season long. No big play.
You got to get in where you fit in. Nick Hawley didn't necessarily fit in Houston. Now he's getting in San Antonio. 2 huge plays, 34-yarder, 44-yarder. This is the offense we've been waiting to see all season long.
He was a landscaper before he got his original call with the XFL back in 2020. I think he'll take this lifestyle. Cohn, Hilliman, few yards. Again, this is Hines Ward trusting the process. Now a field goal.
Yak the spread right.
If that's what it comes down to, gives the Brahmas a lead for the first time.
56 on Vegas, ready.
Now this is 3rd and 7. You talk about trusting the process, but red zone matters. So you got to get these 7 yards to keep this drive alive.
Big pressure by Orlando. Cone sees it. Told it in. Touchdown. 28 yards. Brahmas take the lead. They ain't done yet.
Travis Toivonen, he's played with the best of them. We talked about it in North Dakota. Then he said, I'm going to try something different, fan control football. He got voted as one of the best players there. Now he's saying, I can compete anywhere I go.
Cone with brilliant recognition. Orlando brought the house, Sam. And this was the drive of big plays. It's been the game of big plays. San Antonio has needed them. They have not found them. And on that drive, Cone 4 of 5. Now going for 2. Hilleman is going to have to beat 2 Guardians. Nearly did. But the Brahmas trust in the process. Orlando brought the heat. Cohen stood tall. Hines Ward believing.
Travis Toivonen with the catch, broken tackle, and finds the end zone. Even if it's a shorter pass, get those yards after catch.
What you want? What you want?
Winning in San Antonio is at the top of the list, along with staying alive in the playoff hunt for Hines Ward. He loves these fans. It's an amazing city with amazing people and sports fans. They've not won in this building. He wants this for the fans as bad as he wants it for his team and for himself.
The first thing we heard when we met with Hines Ward was, I want to win for these fans. I want to win at home for these fans. And so we've seen them show up. Now we're saying we want them to be a part of a winning culture.
Mike Scott with the hit. Here's Fitz.
Here with quarterback Jack Cone. They brought pressure. The moment they did, what'd you see?
Yeah, I mean, they bought cover 0, one more than we could block. We had a good play call called, just a shallow route coming. Was able to put it on. We made a great play, breaking a tackle.
What would this win mean for you?
It mean a lot. Just get our first win at home would mean a ton, and we just got to finish strong.
Go get him.
Thank you, Rip.
Gold.
Fitz, thank you. And still alive as San Antonio wins the final 2. And Arlington drops the final 2. That will put the Brahmas via the tiebreaker into the XFL playoffs. Quentin Dormady, but first, flag on the play.
Dark clock move on that. Yeah, what needs to go to 2:07. 2:07 on the clock. Yep.
Neutral zone infraction, defense prior to the snap, causing the offense to react. It's a 5-yard penalty. Please reset the game clock to 2 minutes, 7 seconds, 2:07.
Ghost left, ace right, righty. Ace right, righty. David. Son. 180. Watch out.
Dormady pressured, felt it. Ball is out, but incomplete. Ben Davis was there to knock it free from Devin Darrington.
Bitch, you wanna go with no ball hoe ass nigga?
Bunch. Motion, Corvette. Bunch left motion, Corvette.
Ready?
I was talking to Jim Herman, who you see on your screen, defensive coordinator for San Antonio before the game. He talked about adjusting to whatever they do. This is the time to adjust. Stop them at a critical moment after an offensive score.
Darrington. That's going to be a first down. And Herman always looks like that.
He does. Well, he does. He doesn't care what level of football it is. He's coached at the highest levels. He's coached everywhere, overseas.
Plus Black Waco.
He just wants to coach.
Plus Black Waco, 12S.
Big shot, alert, F counter left. On one, ready?
and knows about coaching great players. He said the only real impact he had with Charles Woodson, he helped discover him, but moved him to nickel. That Heisman Trophy year ended up with a lot of sacks that people forget about in that campaign. Germany almost picked off. Sean Williams, the naval grab, almost got it. Almost anchors away.
Sean Williams could not have played that play any better outside of course, catching it. So he's dropping off in his zone. And so if there's no one in your zone, you turn, you find the quarterback, and you get depth. He gets depth underneath the receiver. All you have to do is finish it. The drop was perfect. It could not have been any better. Make the catch. He's frustrated. We're all frustrated. But I think opportunities will come back to you as you keep on going.
Sarah, tuck!
Darrington met quickly by Matthew Gotel. And you can just feel it. The Brahmas defense has belief. As the clock winds down to 0, it's money time. That means put up 4 fingers. It's time for the 4th quarter. And if you want to stay alive, this is when you got to close it out. The most important quarter of football coming up for the San Antonio Brahmas. And the horns are up, the masks are on inside the Alamo Dome.
Hi, Mom. Hi, Dad. Hi,
XFL playoff starts Saturday, April 29th on ESPN2 with the South Division Championship. We know that's going to be in Houston. And Sunday, April 30th on ESPN, the North Division Championship. And we will crown an XFL champ on Saturday, May 13th on ABC, right here inside the Alamo Dome in San Antonio. Laura Galindo here with Sam Ancho. The path to the playoffs for the Brahmas. It's simple and complex. What they've got to do, win the final 2, including this one. Arlington must lose the final 2. That would put the Brahmas in via the tiebreaker. Pressure, ball is out. A chase with the big bodies to get there. And it looks like Brett Boyko made one of the biggest plays of the season for the Guardians by chasing down that fumble.
And you don't have to even guess who made that play. It was Delonte Scott. You ain't got to guess. I told you. Delonte Scott sees Boyko's hands. He lifts them off of him and doesn't just get the sack. No, he goes and gets the ball. Why? Because that's a sack and a forced fumble. Those are the plays Delonte Scott's been making all season long. That's why he's top 3 in sacks in the XFL. His coach, Joey Porter, called him an avatar. He's 6'5" tall. All he does is make plays.
And this Orlando offense has stalled since Mac Brown's 69-yard fake ended up in the hands of KD Cannon. Momentum all on the side of San Antonio. Catch episode 6 of the XFL docuseries, Player 54, Chasing the XFL Dream. Available to stream on ESPN Plus. Directed by Peter Berg, this 9-part docuseries chronicles the creation of the XFL under new ownership and provides an all-access look at all 8 teams. By the way, Delonte Scott has played in 7 games. He's got 7.5 sacks. One of the absolute stars in this season of the XFL. Cone back to work with Jaquez Patrick. Cone to Patrick. Patrick's going to have a first down. Ball is out! Into the hands of Stanley Maponga. Game changer. Here we go, Sam. The oldest player on the Guardians roster. Papa Bear bringing it in.
Papa Bear needs to work on his dance moves. But that was a great play by Stanley Maponga. You saw it. Jack Cone saw nothing downfield. He takes the check down. Then you see Maponga, eyes aware, running to the ball. And sometimes, like as they say, the ball finds me.
And it was forced out by Terrence Smith. And Orlando now has great field position. They got to make something out of it. Darrington with the dance. San Antonio was looking for the strip from behind. That was Drew Beasley. Mapong is such a great story. Told us before the start of the season the importance of his role. He said he didn't have anybody when his career started in the NFL to help him through all the adversity you naturally face. He's taken it upon himself to be that guiding force.
He wants to mentor some of the younger players. As the oldest guy on his team, he says, I didn't have this when I played. I'm going to be what I didn't have for everyone else. Maybe I can extend their careers here and in the NFL.
Quentin Dormady, the local kid, will scramble. And Dormady goes down before he is hit by Jordan Williams. Dormady has his entire family here. His dad, Mike, was his head coach at Bernie High School, just north off I-10 in the San Antonio area. Pops is now an offensive coordinator at Waxahachie High School. 3rd and 2. Darrington, first down, looking for more. Looking for the sideline, little cutback. Dormady trying to get in the mix, and he got shut down by Rico Jeffers. But Darrington having himself a game, the Hobbit man, with 16 yards.
That was a great run by Darrington, but no one had the running back. We saw Delonte Scott get up the field. If it's a pass, you can get up the field. On a running play, someone's got to go quarterback to cutback.
Bunch right motion, scat right after action. Scat right, scat right, scat right.
The quality of football, especially in the second half of this season, has been brilliant in the XFL. Every game is close. No favorite is safe. The Brahmas the favorite here, but the Guardians with just one win, fighting like their entire season is on the line. That's Andrew Jamil out of D2 Stonehill, where he had 3,600 receiving yards in his career.
Easy, easy, easy. Fetch, fetch, fetch. Hey, ace right, ace right, ace right. Sarah, touch.
Dormady high and through the hands of Jalen Smith. Tejada in coverage. San Antonio with some shutdown DBs. We haven't called Luke Barku's name tonight, but Barku has been the best shutdown corner in the XFL. Wearing number 1 in black, his counterpart Terrell Bonds. In number 2, Cameron Kelly.
You're the drive.
Has also been a force. You see him on the left side of the screen.
180! What's that?
3rd and 6 for Quentin Dormady. He's got time. Dropped.
Field goal.
Katie Cannon could not hold on. Cam Kelly, maybe he heard the footsteps of Kelly. And we heard the call from Buckley, field goal. That brings on the former Lou Groza Award winner. Started his career at FIU, finished at Miami. This is Jose Morgales for 52 yards. This would be his season long. Kick is up. And the kick is good from 52. 6 straight makes for the former top kicker in all of college football. And we've got a 2-point game. Orlando turning the takeaway into 3 points. Welcome back to San Antonio. Sam, Jack Cohn had a lot to prove in this game.
And he's been proving it. Not only his receivers, but also himself. His offensive line, receivers stepping up. Nick Hawley stepping up. Everyone on this team has heard enough of the noise, and they understand how to play desperate.
Desperation is what Hines Ward was looking for, and he's getting a performance that's epitomizing that. San Antonio leaving everything out here. They picked it up after a slow start. 296, a season high for Cohn. And that's a passing performance that's going to be up there with the likes of McCarron, Silvers, DiNucci as one of the best this year.
Especially if you come out with a win when it matters the most in your playoff game.
After the Borregales field goal from 52, we've got a 2-point game. San Antonio came into this favored by 2. Fred Brown, does he have more return magic like he did from 94 yards a few weeks ago in Las Vegas? The answer there is not at the moment. Week 9 continues tomorrow afternoon at noon Eastern with an ESPN doubleheader. Starts with the Defenders hosting the Renegades, followed by a huge one between the Sea Dragons and Battlehawks. Every game is also available on ESPN+. DC is sold out their home field. St. Louis, they always pack the dome. And Seattle will be eliminated if they cannot take down the Battlehawks. Will we see A.J. McCarron back? Nick Tiano had his helicopter moment a week ago, but that team will go as A.J. McCarron takes them.
They will, and Nick Tiano got injured in that game last week, and so likely it will be A.J. McCarron back. That's what we heard from Anthony Becht last week, unless something has changed in this critical game.
Hoping to save McCarron.
We're good.
Get by Vegas, which they did, to have him in the most important game of the season for St. Louis. Patrick, just tough running. He has saved his best for last. Patrick coming off a 90-plus yard performance. And the Dome last week against Houston looked so nimble with the footwork, and we saw that as he got into the end zone near the end of the first half.
And one thing about this situation, third and short, you don't want to get too comfortable even though you have the lead. The clock is running, get your first down, and then if they say 4-minute drive, make this an 8-minute drive.
Cone tipped, almost picked. That was the gift the Guardians desperately needed.
Hey, Dustin.
Wow.
There are almost 3 different players that could have intercepted that ball.
Cone has played turnover-free football. He had 2 interceptions on back-to-back throws to end the first half and open the second half. And the loss last week, almost had one there. Brad Wing punting off to Justin Rogers. Wing, the biggest leg with Marquette King in the XFL. Rogers, he's going the wrong direction. Now reverses field, but the Brahmas are all over it. Keeman Silverman bringing him down. Horrible field position for Orlando. The San Antonio defense, #1 in the league in scoring, trying to bow up in the final 8:35 and deliver the folks in the Alamo Dome the first home win for the San Antonio Brahmas. Welcome back to San Antonio. Fitz just caught up with Brahmas head coach Hines Ward.
Coach, what'd you see?
We saw some potential flags, but you know, the thing is, we just want consistency. That's all. I think everybody in the league just wants consistency. So for us, man, we just still got to fight. We're still in this game. We're not going to worry about the refs.
Thanks.
Could not challenge what he thought was illegal contact on his receiver, Landon Akers, on the last offensive play because he used his challenge at the beginning of the game. Guardians backed up. Darrington trying to fix that, but a flag back at the 3-yard line.
Down.
Holding, offense, number 64. The penalty is half the distance to goal from the previous spot. Repeat first down.
That's against Fred Luina. And all the way back for Orlando.
Talk about finishing. We heard their head coach Terrell Buckley say it at halftime. Haven't seen it this season. Will they finish at this moment?
Dormady complete to the 10. Logan Carter, former Oklahoma State Cowboy, native Texan with the catch. Let's check in with Chris.
Well, the Guardians getting very thin at running back. Dedrick Thomas is out. He's got a splint on his right hand and wrist. Mind you also that Jermaine Martin also did not make the trip. That leaves Devin Darrington as right now their only running back.
Thomas also one of their key returners as well. Chris, thanks for the update.
Becker! Becker! 180! What's that?
Working through the noise. He got hit above the neck. Was looking for Jordan Thomas. And this is going to be a call against San Antonio.
What are the results? Incomplete?
Incomplete pass.
Personal foul. Roughing the passer. Defense number 45. 15-yard penalty. Automatic first down.
And that's Delonte Scott, a little too aggressive with the hit on Dormady.
And that's a call where you talk about, should it be challenged? Delonte Scott avoids the cut block. Yeah, maybe that second act is what Dean Blandino usually talks about, instead of pulling him down.
And that not only moves the chains, but gets Orlando out of the noisy end zone with the Brahmas fans.
180!
Down by 2. Plenty of time left. Picked off! Beasley! Doing it himself! Say hello to your new best friends.
Mo, you said it last week. The last win that we saw San Antonio get, they scored on defense. It was against Arlington in their second game against Arlington. Now we see not only a turnover, but a score on D. If your offense isn't getting it done, which they are today, get your defense involved. Jim Herman said, hey, we want 2. I want a turnover in the first half, 1 in the second half. Didn't get the first one, now you got the second one, and trying to put this game out of reach.
Man that began his career as a walk-on at Michigan State has made himself a fixture of this defense coordinated by Jim Herman, full of playmakers. And this is why you save the challenge late. Let's listen in.
Yep. And what I saw the restriction. I looked back, and the ball was in the air.
Okay. So what I have,
it may have already been tipped at that point too.
I've got a legal jam. I'm going to go sky cam. Okay, what I'm looking for is a grab here. What I see is the defender legally jamming him within 5. I don't see a grab. The ball is out. So at that point, we can't have holding. Yeah, that's where I'm going to. My all-22 next. Again, legal jam within 5. I don't see a grab. Any grab takes place after the ball is in the air, so no flag, no foul. All right, Jason, after review, there's no flag for defensive holding. I've got a legal jam within 5. Any grab occurs after the ball was already in the air, so there's no foul for defensive holding.
Result stands as a touchdown.
Result stands as a touchdown. Orlando's charged a timeout, and they can't challenge the rest of the game.
Understood, thank you. After review, the ruling on the field stands. Orlando's charged a timeout and loses their challenge for the game. Touchdown.
The over hits for just the second time in a game involving the Brahmas.
Effort is everything. Drew Beasley on that play, he won on those inside moves. Well, he tried an inside move again. It wasn't effective, so he got out of it, got the pick, and then he scored.
8-point game.
And I love the decision to go for 2. You get a 10-point game. Now all of a sudden it's a 2-score game. A touchdown in the 3-pointer doesn't cut it.
The max you can get in a possession is 9 points. Here's a penalty flag.
74.
False start, gotcha. False start. Offense, number 74. 5-yard penalty. Remains a try for 2.
So this is what we were talking about earlier. Even though this moves San Antonio back to where a 3-point conversion would be attempted from, since they initially declared 2, This is still a 2-point attempt from the 10.
And I don't mind this call at all. Why? Because it's already an 8-point game, and so if Orlando scores, they need a 3-pointer in order to win, a 2-pointer to tie. And so go for it, put the game out of reach, or at least make it a 2-score game, even though you're doing it with this penalty from the 10-yard line.
And a timeout. Let's check in with Fitz.
Drew, if you can compare anything in your life to a pick-6 touchdown for a D lineman, fire away.
Oh, man. I mean, there are countless memories I could think of, but, that memory, first touchdown I've scored in a long, long time, maybe since middle school. Being able to jump in the crowd, I envisioned myself, making a play like that and jumping into the stands. It was awesome.
You've lost several home games here by 2, by 3, and again by 2. What would this one mean if you can hold on?
Well, I mean, the fans deserve a win. For the first win out here in the Alamo Dome. These are a special group of people here in San Antonio, and they deserve nothing but the best.
You give credit to a coach on the other sideline named Mark Snyder, happened to be your D-line coach at Michigan State.
Yeah, I love Coach Snyder. He taught me a lot. At Michigan State, taught me about toughness and what it takes to play defense. And I miss him a lot, and it was awesome to be able to play against him.
Great score.
Yes, sir. Appreciate it.
Well,
and Fitz, he had some ups there too.
False start. Offense number 62. 5-yard penalty. Remains a try for 2.
Now, San Antonio is just making this more difficult on themselves.
And he talks about the last time he may have scored was in middle school. People don't understand how hard it is for a defensive lineman to score on defense. I get it. DBs and pick sixes and safeties. But you're a DN. You're an outside linebacker. It's not the easiest thing in the world.
And that was all him. Tipped it to himself, made the catch, made the sprint into the end zone, stuck the landing in the seats here in the Alamo Dome. BB picked off. Guardians will try to turn this into 2 for themselves. Will not. But what this does is it keeps it a 1-possession game with 7:07 left.
And Orlando can still win the game at this point. Who knows what they're going to try to do. But the way they've been playing these last few weeks, you get a score. Maybe you go for 3 to try and win. Or maybe you go for 2 for the tie.
Well, what they had an opportunity to do last week, down by 3 after a late touchdown, they elected to go for a 1-point conversion instead of a 3-point conversion to tie the game. They were banking on getting the ball back. They got the ball back. However, it was a Dormady fumble late, and that erased their chances of sending this game to overtime.
Well, to your point, Lo, Orlando hasn't got a 3-pointer all season long, have not scored on a 3-point conversion. So in that scenario, they said, let's go for 1. And let's stop them on defense. They did. They got the ball back, had an opportunity to go down and score. And a late fumble with about 50 seconds left and 2 timeouts is what cost them that game. And so they were 10 yards out of field goal range. Hopefully they'll make a better decision this week.
Eli Rogers with the return. Rogers north of the 25. Let's get wired with the Brahmas. Hines Ward absolutely loving it. San Antonio is in the playoffs if they won the final 2 games, and Arlington loses the final 2. That's the only path there, and they would be there via the tiebreaker. How is that complete to Charleston Rambo? DeAndre Francois was flirting with an interception, a dangerous one at that.
If I got on one too many dates, you flirt that much, man. That ball was tipped by Devin Darrington. He was the intended receiver, and then the ball falls into the lap of Rambo. Could have been intercepted. You can't afford plays like that at times like this.
I don't know if that was to Darrington. He put his hands up like, my bad for getting in the way. 2nd and 1. Guardians have been eliminated. They're fighting for a strong finish here. 3 on the play clock. Francois into tight coverage. Broken up by a pass intended for Charleston Rambo. And that is Sean Williams, who is slowed. former captain from Navy, being checked out. This is San Antonio defense that is already thin. They lost their leader on the back end, Jack Kerner, to an MCL injury after an interception last week. Ryan Lewis, standout DB, lost with a hammy injury. Sean Williams also fulfilling his naval service while playing in the XFL. In the city of San Antonio, you got a soft spot in their heart for players from the Naval Academy, as this is the house that David Robinson built. Let's throw down the Fitz.
I reached out to Ken Niumatalolo, former legendary Navy head coach, about Sean Williams, and he summed him up as an unbelievable person off the field. Guys gravitated to him. That's why he was a captain. Also a fearless, fierce football player. You talk to anybody at Navy about Sean Williams, Scott Strassmeyer, their longtime SID, they sing the same, all say the same thing. One former teammate, hold on, Lowell, go ahead with this.
Yeah, this is Darrington to the open field. I dare you to bring him down. Adewusi will try inside the 5. Devin Darrington. That's Harvard speed right there, Sam.
Well, we're seeing the same thing over and over again. It's third down. You're rushing up the field, but Drew Beasley, in this case, you have to see the offensive tackle as a square stance. He's not pass blocking. He's run blocking. And so you have to go quarterback to cutback. Your job is to keep that ball from cutting back, and that's the second time we've seen San Antonio give up a big play on third down, thinking it's pass.
59 yards for Darrington. Trying to stay up, one-handed tackle there by Delonte Scott. Saint over yet as we head to the final 5 minutes of a game that means far more for the San Antonio Brahmas than it does for the Orlando Guardians. That is when it comes to the playoff picture. But every player on the field is looking to put together positive film to get a shot in the NFL. Darrington just put together a highlight. Back to Darrington. Dropped immediately. Rico Jeffers, welcome back. Returning to the Brahmas defense after missing time on the IR with an ankle injury. Former Texas Tech Red Raider. Eight-point game. San Antonio favored by 2. And a timeout by Orlando.
So the threat, at least in this point, of having DeAndre Francois in the game from a defender standpoint is that you know he can run the ball. He's an athletic quarterback. He can throw an and run. And so big plays like we saw before are available, but also in the red zone. Zone reads are available. But DeAndre Francois has experience in winning with his arm as well. And so dual threat quarterback, this is when his legs can be an extreme factor in the red zone.
Also Quentin Dormady, you got to acknowledge it. He struggled with turnovers over the past 2 games. That's now 6 for him since the start of the last game against Arlington. Francois, 2 of 4, more of a running threat. Darrington, after that breakout run, to his right. Francois trying to get the Guardians in the end zone. Pressure. Scott hits him, but complete. The score, Andrew Jamil, just like they do it at D2 Stonehill. And Francois took a shot by Delonte Scott. Sam, that's the epitome of toughness right there.
Well, DeAndre Francois has been through a lot in his life and his career. He was an 8th grader, and he was one of the best middle schoolers in all the nation. Then he goes to IMG Academy, and he has success there. He goes to all the places he went to. Florida State, we talked about it. But this hit, this toughness. We We hope he's okay, but the fact that he stood in there gives his team a chance to win.
What will be the call here? Did Orlando and Terrell Buckley learn their lesson from a week ago? Even though the one-point conversion has by far been the most successful for the Guardians, 2 ties the game, 3 gives them a lead. Now, if they don't get this, another decision is coming up. Do they want the 4th and 15, make it, keep it? But let's live in the moment. Dormady now at quarterback.
180! White side!
Pressure. Way overthrown to Jordan Thomas. 2-point Brahmas lead, just like Vegas thought it would be.
Obvious miscommunication between quarterback and receiver. You see it in the arms, see the frustration by Jordan Thomas. He knew he was open on the slant. He'd been open on the fade. That's the frustrating part about this team. Man, I'm big body, slant, it's wide open. But the quarterback receiver don't get on the same page, and that's where you see this frustration come about. Now, we saw this last week. Orlando didn't convert late in the game. They got a defensive stop, then they got the ball back, and they had a chance to go and win on a last-second field goal before they fumbled the ball away. And so, you've been here before, but will you, like Coach Buckley said at halftime, finish?
Here's what concerns me. Orlando has 1 timeout, and this is a San Antonio offense that takes pride in the ground and pound. There's going to be tick, 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 even with the clock situation in the final 2 minutes being more like college. Borregales will kick it away, and you're absolutely right. Last week against Arlington, they got the ball back. The issue was what happened after they got it back. A turnover. Fred Brown is back deep after the catch. Respective teams leaving the 30 and 35. Brown, sideline. Brown, great field position. Hit hard at the 40. San Antonio's looking for a flag, and it ain't there. 35-yard return. Here's Chris Button.
Well, Francois, after taking that huge hit, they were looking at his left ribs. He's going up, high-fiving everyone, saying he's good to go. He'll go in if they get the ball back.
Sam, that is standing tall in the face of pressure in so many ways.
And the fact that he could even go in if they get the ball back means a lot, too. That dual threat means everything for this team.
Now it's time for San Antonio to play keep away.
We'll go.
But on a night in which the offense is clicked with big plays, maybe they're going for the dagger. Patrick wants the jugular. Just shy of the 40, 19 yards.
Jacques Patrick has been the story, not just of this game, but of the latter half of the season for San Antonio. He sees the vision, that ball's supposed to go inside. He sees there's no edge, no defense, no edge, no chance. He bounces to the outside, and then he gets extra yardage.
Same good Oscar on Vegas, ready.
Get a bruised and battered San Antonio offensive line. Fine 3 more minutes of excellence to close this one out. No surprise, back to Patrick. Patrick, ping pong, 2 more yards.
And here's the frustrating part if you're a defense. It's the same play. You're chasing off the back edge. It should be either a tackle for loss or maybe just a no gain, but his big body's 6'3", 242. He falls forward for a few yards, puts you in a favorable position.
Next up, Arlington and DC on Sunday. DC with a win. They have home field in the north. Arlington with a win. They're in the playoffs. Seattle, St. Louis, the later game. Battlehawks in with a win there.
Omaha, go.
Brahmas need 2 straight, combined with 2 straight losses for Arlington. All of the Guardians are there. That's going to set up a pivotal 3rd down as we're getting close to the 2-minute warning. Now we can go down to the 2-minute warning unless Orlando wants to use a timeout here. And they will elect to take this all the way down to the final 2 minutes. Sam, you want it knowing. 2 teams with a combined 3 wins. This feels like a playoff game.
It absolutely is a playoff game. For San Antonio, if they win, they stay alive. For Orlando, they're playing for everything. pride, themselves, their team, their city, their community. They want it all.
Welcome back inside the Alamo Dome in San Antonio, Texas. Loa Galindo here with Sam Acho, Ian Fitzsimmons, and Chris Budden. In a few weeks, we'll play the XFL championship game here. If San Antonio and Hines Ward want any shot of being in that game, they have to finish here in the final 2 minutes. That is the first the first domino that must fall in a season in which those dominoes have fallen the wrong direction for Hines Ward. Can they deliver the first home win of the year to these passionate San Antonio fans? 3rd and 6. Cone, his best game continues. To Akers, that will be a first down. Clutch throw. And now, with under 2 minutes left, 1 timeout for Terrell Buckley. That was the stop that the Guardians needed.
Hey, let's go. Bad frog. Bad frog. Let's go. Let's go.
Sam,
hey, you're going to push the clock?
Jack Cone is looking like a dude.
Hey, we're good. We're good. We're good.
And it's not only Jack Cone, it's all the guys who have stepped up around him. Now, obviously, this involves line to gain, so Dean Blandino can review it. He's seen it was a correct call.
Hey, we got time.
No more timeouts.
We got time.
This game is very close to being over.
Now, tick, tick, tick.
We got time. We got time.
Orlando can stop the clock only once.
Here we go. All right, here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Omaha, Omaha, we go.
Back to Patrick. Weaving. And this should be that timeout for Orlando. Sam, I just go back, even though it's still relatively early for that 4th and 15 opportunity, it's there for a reason. It's built so you have a shot to get the football back. Why not take advantage of it?
Because last week you were in this position and you didn't take advantage of it, and it worked out very, very close to being in your favor, to the point that you were the one who beat yourself. You didn't get beat, you beat yourself, you fumbled the ball away. And so in this position, you're thinking, okay, if I get a stop like I did last week, I'll have an opportunity. It didn't work in your favor.
3:55 was left on the clock when San Antonio got the ball back. Now, if you're down by 2 and you trust your defense anyways, go for the 4th and 15 and hold even if you don't get the ball back. Force a field goal, and you still got time.
But that's too big of a field position switch. That 4th and 15 is from the 25-yard line, your own 25-yard line. So if you don't get it, that's a guaranteed field goal, maybe a touchdown. So I don't disagree with the decision, but now the position has been changed.
The fact remains, you needed the ball back to have a shot to win the game. And you may watch the final 127 tick away without finding the football again. Patrick will try to put the finishing touches on it, but man, this Orlando defense, they are hidden even in the final moments of this game. Orlando has not won on the road. San Antonio has not won at home. And that's an injured Guardian, Gerald Willis, down in pain. Frustrating season for Terrell Buckley. His team started hot in this game. Opening drive, capped by a touchdown and 2-point conversion. Jordan Thomas from Quentin Dormady, playing without the XFL's leading receiver in Cody Latimer. Got the week off, having some knee issues. And they've been so close, so painfully close in so many games. But so has Hines Ward and the San Antonio Brahmas. But they're finding a way to stay alive. Is it too little, too late when it comes to the XFL race? And so what's that call there? You saying think? What are we looking at here?
So I'm not sure what happened before for him to talk about think, but I think it has to do with, you heard him say it should be over with. That's our time. 10-second runoff, what's going to happen with this injury. And so he's saying, let's find a way to get this first down, be smart, 10-second runoff, and let's end this game. Let's not give it back to Orlando.
The teams that have had the most success are the teams that take advantage of what make the league unique. The 4th and 15, the fact that you have 1, 2, or 3-point conversions. That hasn't been the case for Orlando, taking advantage of the intricate nature of this XFL.
Dean, you heard Coach Ward say, hey, 10 seconds, expected a 10-second runoff. Why didn't we see it there?
By rule, we don't have a 10-second runoff against the defense. What happens there is the play clock goes to 35, and then the game clock starts on the ready for play. So that, in essence, becomes almost like a 10-second runoff because they're not gaining an advantage.
Patrick is bottled up, and he is brought down by Savion Patton. And this will end the game. In San Antonio for the first time, they win in front of their home fans inside the Alamo Dome. But most importantly, they are still alive in the XFL South race. They need to win the regular season finale against DC, and they need to hope that DC beats their competition, the Arlington Renegades, tomorrow, and that Arlington loses again. That had the feel of a big-time game, Sam, with importance on both sides.
Well, it felt like a playoff game, and that's exactly what it was. San Antonio wins, they continue. Arlington plays DC tomorrow. If they lose, San Antonio's still alive. Next week, Arlington plays Houston, who's the XFL South leader. If they lose and San Antonio beats DC, Week 10, all of a sudden, San Antonio has found their way into the playoffs.
And San Antonio found their offense, 390 total yards, 302 for Cone through the air. Here's Fitz with Hines Ward.
We just mentioned Jack Cone's stats, over 300 yards, Coach. You told us before the game that was the one dude you wanted to see step up. He did. What'd you see from your quarterback?
Man, just poised, composed, went out there and executed. Man, I'm happy to have him, man. I'm just so happy for our fans in San Antonio. It's a big win for us, so it's a big, we won this one for the fans.
You've won a lot of games in your career. Yeah. How's this one feel?
It feels good, man. We're still in the fight. You know, that was our whole goal going into it. We want to try to get into the playoffs. So we'll see what DC and Arlington does. But, I mean, every time we played here in San Antonio, man, it's been a close game. We lost by 3. We lost by 2. We lost by 2 last week. So to pull it out for our fans stuck with us the whole time, man. I'm so grateful, so thankful because they brought the energy today. And we're thankful for that.
How's it going to be watching those games tomorrow for you?
I got my popcorn, man. I'm glued to the television.
Go get him, Coach. Congratulations.
Thank you, Dan. Thank you.
Over to KB.
Cohen, your best game of the season, over 300 yards. What was the difference for you today?
Yeah, I think it was just the guys around me. They did a phenomenal job all day. All line protected so great. Receivers were open. Tight ends are great. Running backs ran the ball well. So really just all my teammates.
Backs against the wall in terms of the postseason. You've played so many close games here at home, and overtime loss yesterday. What was the conversation on the sidelines when you got down today in terms of trying to keep this season alive?
Yeah, I mean, we've been through a lot this season. We've been through a lot of adversity. We have a resilient group, and just stay in the fight. That's been the motto the whole season long, and that's what we did, and it was good to get a win in front of our home crowd.
Your coach, Hines Ward, said that he was hoping and expecting this kind of performance from you today. What was the conversation like with him before the game?
Yeah, I mean, he just said, just keep fighting, just find completions, and just do your job. I mean, that's all quarterbacking is, and yeah, I appreciate him, believing in me.
I appreciate it. Congratulations.
Thank you.
So we're seeing with Jack Cohen and this San Antonio team, they've stayed alive in this race. They have another chance to get a home win next week against DC, the best team record-wise in the nation. We'll see how it fares, but for now, they'll be watching tomorrow with their popcorn.
Sam, this is what it's about. We've got 6 games left in the XFL regular season, 2 playoff spots remaining. In the north, it's St. Louis and Seattle. And here in the south, it's Arlington. And yes, the San Antonio Brahmas, after they win a must-win game against Orlando. For Sam and our entire crew, I'm Logan Lindo. Now let's kick it over to SportsCenter.